trail repair. Time to fix a flat tire. 23 miles to empty. Somebody lost a spare tire off their rig, and we stopped to get it. Woo. Good morning, campers. It's day 3 of our Baja run with EXO in Mexico. We camped along the Pacific coast last night. Super awesome camp spot. Got in late last night, set up camp, had some good food, shared some laughs, had a good time. Now we are all getting ready to head back out on the trail to our next camp spot, Camp 2, for the trip, and we're headed north. The lollygaggers back here, media crew, would be Jeremiah with EXO and myself, letting the crew get ahead of us so we could do some filming. And what I'm gonna do is film the underside of my suspension here in Baja. It's a very muddy suspension, but I have a GoPro attached with a little safety strap, and we're gonna see how the suspension does while I do some whoops and go through this section here. And then I think Jeremiah is going to watch for any falling GoPros from behind. Didn't fall off. So I was late to the party catching up with this crew because I took my time to hang back and do some recording of the suspension with my GoPro, and apparently people got caught up in this boggy marsh, as it were, thanks probably to recent rains, and got stuck, so they had to pull out some trucks. And now we are gathered here until our next move. Getting out in the mud creates more mud in all the places. Got some new walker wear here, new fashion trends in Baja. And here we go, a little drop. It's a fun time in the neighborhood for the drop. You don't want to hit that at speed. That's a total right there if you did that. Unless you're a Baja truck, which you might still get total. Special note, remember to bring tools, boys and girls, when you're out overlanding on a long journey, because you never know when you need them. I just had to tighten down a few bolts on my KC rack. This is just an incredible shakedown, 2.5 days of Baja trails. It shows you where you need to improve and what you can do, but hey, part of the fun for me is learning all this stuff and improving upon my vehicle every time I go out for the next one. So Even though it seems stressful, it's also kind of fun.
I got it. There you go.
Sweet.
Where was it?
It was on my window. I'm gonna give you some space, 12. Have fun. Not the greatest thing to see on an overland trip when you're out in the middle of nowhere is gas warning light at 48 miles. I've had to use my gas tank twice. We filled it once, and there's more gas waiting for us at the end of this trail. Thankfully, XO thought ahead and had their chase rigs delivering gas to us. Little stop on the trail here. Some casualties of the trail claiming victims. Everybody's got a little damage somewhere. Some fenders in the back because, well, they're not attached. Trail repair. Time to fix a flat tire. One thing that is not going wrong so far is the suspension work, which I'm super excited about having here because it's very handy to have in this environment. "23 miles to empty," but luckily XO was thinking ahead and we made it to our pit stop with the chase rigs with fuel.
Trail repairs. We have extension upon extensions with as much length as we can get.
Extensions on extensions. Yes. Brought to you by the Baja XO Run.
We're solving problems over here.
Yeah, look out. On a funny turn of events, they gave us enough gas to get us to the next town, allegedly. But unfortunately, I didn't get enough gas. So I think the town's about 70 miles away, and I got what I got, and now I'm here on the side of the road because I'm running out of gas. It's at 0 meters at red, and I decided to pull over in a safe spot and wait for the gas truck behind me because these roads are rather narrow and rather treacherous on these switchbacks and mountains and hills here, and there's not a lot of shoulders, so I don't want to get in a situation where I run out of gas and put her to a stop at the wrong possible place. So waiting for the gas truck here, but in the meantime, look at these views. This is great. The heroes have arrived in their F350 and F250 respectively. Not all heroes wear capes, but some are purveyors of gasoline. 55 miles to empty, that'll get me to town. Sometimes gas stations are a welcome sight in life, and this day is one of them. Day 4 of our trip through Baja, Mexico with the XO crew and our overland adventure. We stayed at this beach last night, got to fall asleep to the lovely sound of these waves and wake up to them as well. And now we're gonna all get geared out here and caravan on out. We have some off-road time as well as some highway time today. We're heading north, and we have a nice hotel stay for us after 2 nights of rugged camping in northern Mexico. So let's get on the road. Somebody lost a spare tire off their rig, and we stopped to get it, and I'm gonna go deliver it to them right now. Go 37s, they say. Well, the mount on the bracket holding it to the bumper totally snapped. We're gonna go look at that other side here. Fully snapped off there from here. The ultimate shakedown.
It is literally the ultimate shakedown. Where is the hotel? I don't know if I can continue today.
That's a great question. Let's find out.
It already fell in today.
What? That already fell in?
Yeah, it already fell in again.
Oh boy. We're have to write stern letters to all these off-road equipment manufacturers. You need to test your stuff in Baja. And we are getting tires secure. Ratchet straps to your friends, kids. Never leave home without them. And then to help them with space, we acquired their kitchen, their camp kitchen here that I happened to have room for in my bed. So we'll give that back to them at the hotel. Strapped in and ready to go. Something to consider in Mexico when you see a gas station. Take advantage of a gas station in Baja, Mexico, because you're not quite sure when you're going to see another gas station, so it's probably a good idea to stop. What do you think?
I think this is pretty awesome. Being in a TRX, we are gas guzzlers, so whenever there's a gas station, you got to stop and fill up. This has been a pretty intense trip. Yesterday was a day of endurance, for sure.
Absolutely.
Mentally, physically. Enduring the long stretches of driving and constant shaking for sure was challenging. And it's also just the endurance of the vehicle. These are amazing machines. More.
Food vlog. Pit stop for a food vlog. Spicy shrimp tacos. Quick view at what our route looked like in Baja with the XO run. They take you on an epic journey, if you will, through Baja, Mexico, logging over 1,000 miles on this trip through Baja, Mexico, and most of that off-road. So well done to XO for planning an awesome trip and mapping it out for us, providing great direction too, and then having a great map as a resource on the trip. Another thing to mention about how we communicate on the trail, if you are not aware, is we all use radios. And I know when you're first getting into this hobby, it can be a little intimidating to figure out all the little tribal knowledge that goes along with it. But basically, a lot of people use like rugged radios. I use a ham radio setup, and I do have a ham radio license. You don't need to go that far, but you certainly can if you want to. But this is how people communicate on the trail. Looks like I have a room to myself here. Check that out. All right, a look at the truck the morning after. They gave it a rinse down. Obviously, they didn't give it a full detail. They just need to get all the mud off of it to cross the border. But in terms of how this thing performed on this trip, I'm very, very happy with it. The truck was just amazing. It held up tremendously. The new suspension just rocked. Super happy with the icons and the KHC front bump or lower control arm and bump stop mount with the Fox bump. As well as, I've got the RPG tie rod in there and the Element billet control arm up top for the upper control arm. Slot delete kits. Super good. Worked out great. Was able to hammer those trails hard. BFG KM3s held up nicely, as expected. Now, the big problems I had on this trip were the retrax cover, unfortunately. The amount of vibrations you get on a trip like this just shakes every nook and cranny of the truck. So those were the brackets that held these in place, the bed clamps, were not enough. And the other thing too is Ford's rails, and I kind of knew this going in, I probably mentioned this in a different chapter of this vlog, but it's all a blur. The bed rails aren't very strong in terms of supporting things from the underside. Now with this load distribution, the actual top of the bed rail did okay, but at the underside of the bed rail where that everything clamps in, that not good. We actually broke a chunk of it out at one point, and those clamps vibrate right out of the truck, right out of the bed of the truck. So we ended up ratchet strapping down to the bed, the tonneau cover, so it wouldn't bounce on the trail and rattle loose or shake off. But so that's a problem. We got to figure out a way to have everything mounted to the bed of the truck or to the frame of the truck and not to the rails with clamps. That's just not going to work out for any rugged overlanding action. And then the rack itself from extrusion, you know, bolts got loose on it. We got a little wampus, but for the most part, it held up great. Actually, I'm really impressed at how well it did hold up. My tent is solid. There's no wiggling or shaking in the tent. The rack is sturdy and strong. But I think it's sort of the weakest link here is how it mounts to the bed. And there's got to be a better solution to how the rack mounts to the bed to keep it stable, or you're only as good as your weakest part, right? And when you do a shakedown like this, when you upgrade a truck, you are going to find the weakest link, the next weakest link. So when I upgraded that suspension, that allows me to go 20 to 30 miles an hour faster than I was going on stock suspension on these trails. And that speed and the rugged terrain over the course of 4 days for multiple hours each day, and all the vibrations that are happening on trail is what causes these things to shake apart. So for 90% of your overland adventures, or 98% of your overland adventures, you know, this rack setup is going to be fine. You're going to be able to go out and do camping and overlanding. But if you're ever planning on doing something like the XO Baja run with overland, or just really high speed or long periods of time in rugged terrain, for overlanding, you might want to really consider how bulletproof you can make your gear and what gear you're using. So make sure that you are using gear that's not going to rattle apart on you. And the best way to do that is just test it out. You got to you got to try things and test them out and see how they go. And then you take notes, learn from them, and you improve upon it as you evolve with your setup and with your experience in this hobby. So yeah, but overall, I am super satisfied. I had a great time. So, and it was great to see all the elements of this truck that are working, and then what can be fixed as well. That's it for Mexico. I have a long drive north to Portland ahead of me for about a 3,000 mile round trip when I'm all done. But I want to take a moment to give a shout out to all the other participants on this overland run with me this weekend. Everybody was an awesome person to meet, and there was a lot of great camaraderie on this trip. So special shout out to every one of you, and I hope you're watching this vlog, and leave a message in the comments below if you are. Great to meet you. Also, big shout out to the XO crew, Gordon and Jeremiah, for leading an awesome run. Planning and replanning. There was a hurricane through here recently, and they replanned and made sure everybody had a fantastic time. So great leadership. And the support crew on the chase trucks were super helpful, always ready to gas us up or tow us out or fix something if we needed it. So it was super helpful to have them there. And overall, the XO run, really highly recommend. If you are able to do it, make sure that you're prepared for it and you're okay with the intensity of it, but definitely an awesome experience. And with that, if you like this content, please like the video, subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.